Good evening. A retired Eastbourne vicar has been jailed for 8 years for sexually abusing 3 boys. Robert Coles, who also worked in Horsham, groomed and then abused his young victims during the 1970s and the 1980s.
Well, a court in Brighton today heard that the 71-year-old priest had disclosed that he'd sexually abused one of the children to senior clergy, including a bishop. The information was never passed on to the police. Our Home Affairs correspondent Colin Campbell reports.
Mr. Coles, are you ashamed? Are you ashamed of what you've done? Once a trusted parish vicar, this is Robert Coles at an earlier hearing. Mr. Coles, would you like to say anything to the victims? The 71-year-old groomed, then sexually abused 3 boys over a 5-year period.
The impact on these victims has been drastic. Such crimes leave an indelible mark on the victims. Some victims deal with it in some ways, others in other ways, but for the 3 victims that came to court today, it's caused them problems throughout their lives.
Coles wormed his way into the lives of vulnerable families. He was arrested in March last year after a 6-month police investigation. He abused his victims at locations in West Sussex, Devon, Cornwall and the Isle of Wight between 1979 and 1984. The boys were aged between 10 and 16. Did you ever confess your crimes to a senior bishop? Today the court was told he did. In 1997, Coles told the former Bishop of Lewes, Bishop Wallace Benn, and then Archdeacon Nicholas Reed he'd inappropriately touched a young church server. Bishop Wallace Benn was also sent a letter detailing abuse suffered by a victim in 2001. It seems none of the information was passed on to the police.
I think there was inadequacy of training. I think there was failure to understand the seriousness of the situation. I think there was a lack of real understanding about how predatory paedophiles might function. A whole range of things. I think there was ineptitude, yes. Cover up, no.
Bringing disgrace upon the church, leaving victims with long-lasting psychological damage, Robert Coles must serve at least half of his 8-year sentence before release.
Colin Campbell reporting there. He's at Church House in Hove for us now. And Colin, this all comes against a background of questions being raised about safeguarding children within the Chichester diocese, doesn't it?
That's right, Rob. An archiepiscopal visitation, an investigation looking at child protection failings, Church of England, churches across Sussex, is now drawing to a close. We understand a final report will be made sometime in spring. Bishop Wallace Benn, the former Bishop of Lewes, is still facing disciplinary proceedings under the clergy discipline measure. Now, we understand a decision will be made now by the Bishop of York, Dr. John Centerbu. It is unclear, though, if any of the information that we heard in court today relating to Bishop Wallace Benn is included in that formal complaint that Dr. John Centerbu must decide on.
OK, Colin, thank you.